boy Crow.
I have my dogs running around here somewhere. Those of you who know me know that Jewel and Cola tend to accompany me wherever I go. Now they're running off just as I introduce them. Of course, of course. So this is Kelli and her new horse, Crow.
Yeah, we thought you'd like to meet him. I'm long-suffering Kelli, and he acts like he's long-suffering Crow. He's kind of put out by everything, but he's warming up to his life of celebrity, because you don't just come to Dunrovin Ranch and just hang out and be a horse.
That's
you must
right.
have a job.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
his horse is my poor horse is his deal now. Hi.
So for those of you who are new to the horse world, developing a relationship with a new horse takes time. Horses are very sentient beings. They have their own personalities. They have their own background, and they can't tell you their background. They can't say, well, you know, in my past life I had a few traumas, and this is why I spook at this, or this is why I do that. It's kind of up to the new owner to experiment and to guess.
And I just found his happy spot for rubbing. So
yeah, he does like that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Look how he puts his head down there.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm getting to know him, and he's getting to know me.
Yeah.
I've always had a horse, and I have them for a long time, so I haven't had that many of my own.
Right.
And I don't think he's had that many owners either. So
he was a part of a string that belonged to a guy that I've been working with for some time, a guy named Ray Rugg, who operates backcountry trips out near St. Regis, Montana. And I've worked with him on several occasions and gone on backcountry trips with him, and this is where he came from Ray's line. Now, many of you probably read Kelli's description. We put it up on the rumors section, and if you haven't read it, you might want to go there and read it. But I noticed, Kelli, that in your description you used a lot of horse terms. Terms that horse people know, but, you know, maybe not everybody else knows.
Well, I just jumped on the chat, and I think C was on. I said, you know, we're going to talk about that article, and she goes, oh, I better read it. And I said, apparently I use horse terms that not your average civilian would know. And I said, but a lot of you are turning into horse people, which is part of my evil plan. And C said, I am one now.
Yeah.
So if you're not a horse person yet, you will be.
Yeah. Well, you know that the old saying that the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man.
Oh, I can't tell you.
You don't have to be standing here petting them to get the benefits. They're wonderful animals to get to know. But, you know, her smelling Crow, I know that there's several of you out there that are envious of you standing there smelling.
Oh,
yeah,
Gabby, I just smelled him.
Yeah, I can tell that Gabby's there.
Oh, he smells good. You smell good, man.
You have to come back, Gabby, so you can take a whiff.
Yes.
Okay. So, Kelli, one of the first things that you talk about when you in your article, and I'm going to refer to that, so I'm going to make you an honest woman. Okay?
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Better than you have tried, Suzanne. Better than you have tried.
I'm sure. You call him a 15-hand high red roan leopard Appaloosa. Now, there's a lot of terms.
That's a lot of words.
A lot of terms that people don't know. What's the 15-hand high?
You measure horses in hands, and a hand equals 4 inches. So he's 15 hands.
And that's the broad side of your hand.
Yeah, like this. It's 4 inches.
Right.
It's in general. So he's 15 times 4 inches tall.
Yeah. And where do you measure a horse to?
From the ground up to here, which is their withers.
Right. And
Top of their withers. That's where you measure a horse's height.
Yeah. And what are the withers?
The withers are a sequence of bones right here between the neck and the back.
Right. It's kind of the high part of their neck.
It's where the saddle will sit.
Right. And
about
actually
here.
it's the high part of the horse when his head is down.
Correct. That's a good way to think of it.
Yeah.
And he's pretty short, actually. He's small.
Yes. 15 hands is not all that tall. Augie, our little foal's already taller than this guy.
I know.
Yeah, he's going to be a giant.
In a couple of weeks, we're going to start training Augie again, and that's going to be something.
Yeah, that's going to be really
Trust
fun.
me.
Okay. So now, what's the red roan part? What are you talking about?
That's his color.
All right, and what makes him a red roan?
Now a roan is a horse that has almost equal distribution, I think, of colors, of hair colors. So this red-brown color interspersed with the white is the roan, is the red roan. He's an Appaloosa because of his spots, but also because of his mottled nose. That's how you tell. and they have a large sclera in their eye. You'll often see a lot of white in an Appy's eye. Appy's is short term for Appaloosa.
And the Appaloosa horse is really unique to North America, is it not?
Yes, they were bred. They were bred specifically by the Native Americans in this region.
Yes,
they were bred.
Nez Perce, I believe. The Nez Perce.
The Nez Perce.
Yes.
So every Appy has ascended at some point from a Nez Perce horse.
And what are the characteristics of an Appy that the Native Americans so desired? Do you know that?
I do know that they. Yes. There's a couple of things. What Appaloosas have a reputation for being cranky and ill-tempered. And when he came here, he was a lot more ill-tempered than he is now. And they do say, and they have a reputation for being slow. So it goes that the Nez Perce. The reason they were such fierce warriors is because they were so angry with their horses that they took that into battle with them, and that the Appies are so slow that if you came off, you could run and catch them. Now, I don't know if I hope that's true, because isn't that great?
Well, I also know, though, that they have very good feet, and they are very hardy mountain horses.
Yes.
You know, they can take care of themselves in all kinds of weather, so they're very durable. They make a good mountain western horse.
They do. He's very good.
Yeah, and a lot of people prefer the Appaloosa for that reason, that they've got such good strong feet, and they're kind of durable. They don't get sick very often. You know, they're hardy horses.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Okay, so red roan, a 15 high, hand high, red roan, leopard Appaloosa. So that's his color and his size.
That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. Okay, and you think he's about 13 years old?
That's what I was told from Ray, the man I bought him from.
Okay, and how old is that in terms of the lifespan of a horse? Is this a young horse? Horse?
Well, it depends. You know, when we were younger, horses lived to be 20 or so.
Right.
Now it could easily be 30.
Right.
So middle age, early middle age.
Yeah. Right, and many of our horses live to be 20 or more, but they start showing their age right around 18.
Yeah,
19.
he's pretty much in prime, you know?
Yeah, he's in prime,
yeah,
right.
Pretty
That's
good.
Great.
Pretty
okay.
good.
And I noticed that you said that you felt at one time he was someone's horse because of the way he reacts to you when you say he's easy off the leg. Could you explain what that means?
Yeah, so when you ride, you use your legs and your seat, which is basically your rear end.
Right.
So when you close your legs on a horse, you're putting pressure on the horse, and they move away from pressure. So when I'm sitting on him, and I haven't been on him that many times, really. I got him toward the end of last season. When I close my legs on him, he goes. So he's very sensitive to forward motion. He's not sensitive to sideways motion. So and he's not being stubborn. I think he doesn't know. He hasn't been taught. Hasn't been trained to go sideways. Like he was in a rental string, and he knows how to walk forward like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Which is a good start.
Yeah.
So he has to learn to go sideways off my leg. That because you need to do that to go through gates, over obstacles, get out of a jam.
Called side passing, and that is you put your leg on one side of the horse, and the horse starts to cross his legs and move sideways. Yeah, like that. And you know, it's really interesting when you get a new horse, you get that horse as he has been trained by somebody else, and sometimes to do a very different job than the one you're going to ask him to do.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you a little story. I had a number of different horses when I lived in Alaska. And one of the horses that I had was a Palomino named Peanut, okay? And Peanut was used as a wheel horse in rodeo roping. Okay, now the wheel horse is a horse that comes on the back end of the calf, you know, and helps hold the calf, okay? He knew 2 speeds.
Right.
A dead out run and stop.
Right.
Those are the only speeds this horse
so you
knew.
had to teach him.
I had to teach him to trot, and the minute I put my leg on him, we were at a full gallop, just like that. And if I picked my reins up at all, even thought about picking up my reins, we came to a dead stop. Took me a while.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but they really adapt to new circumstances. It just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of communication. And as you stay with us throughout this year, you're going to see Kelli doing some training.
Yes.
And you'll see how all that works.
Absolutely, and he's a very good horse, like I said, to walk and follow other horses, but in front, because I'll be doing a lot more guiding this year, he's not so comfortable in the front.
Yeah.
So we're learning that we have to.
Yeah, and being the horse in front is a unique responsibility for the horse. You know, these are prey animals.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that in one of your sentences here in talking about him, you claim that he is not desensitized to dead animals. How do you know this?
Well, we were coming back from a ride last summer, and I was leading some folks, and I didn't, all of a sudden, and a horse their reaction time is 5 times faster than ours.
Yeah.
Which means they are 20 feet sideways before you even know what's happened. So he went sideways, and he didn't take off, which was a good sign.
Yeah.
And I looked over, and there was a dead and very fragrant beaver on the trail. And being prey animals, you know, they can be domesticated for who knows how long, but they're still prey animals.
Oh, absolutely.
He smelled something dead, and he wondered, "Am I next?" He wondered where the predator was. So, yeah, he's not all that used to that.
Right. And just as a note, it's actually equines have the fastest reaction time of any mammal. Any mammal.
I believe it.
Yeah. I mean, in a second, yeah, you can be going in one direction and with
all of a sudden.
Yeah, all of a
and
sudden
that's why, you know, if they're going to kick you, that you're done.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. So he also mentioned that at times his ears go flat when you are.
Well, they're
trying
a little
to
back
feed him.
now.
What
See
does that
that?
mean when a horse's ears go
He's
flat?
irritated. See, look at him now.
Yeah.
He doesn't like me hanging on his back like this. See his ears? We're giving a demo.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
what's the matter? You don't care for that too much?
Yeah.
He's learning to tolerate me. His ears will go straight back often. It's less and less. It's a sign of stress, I would think.
And it's about
anger
feeding
and
time, right?
A lot of it's during feeding time.
So can you explain why that might be?
Well, I talked to you about it earlier, and he was in a big herd, and he was the lowest horse in the herd, which means he was made to move and run around, and he ate last. And we imagined that they weren't fed on a schedule. Big round bales of hay were put out, and they just ate as they wanted. And so he's not used to, not being run off and kicked and whatever at dinner time. He's probably expecting it. He's also probably a little cranky because he doesn't get to eat 24 hours a day.
Right.
But you know, he's being so cute and friendly. This is new. him doing this is really new. I'm very pleased. I also just snuck him a kiss.
That's
He
great.
better learn to be my horse.
Yeah. Well, this is not uncommon when a horse moves to Dunrovin, that it takes about a year to settle in to what's here. And I know many of you watched the transition with Canner. And I don't
Canner's
know
the rescue horse?
Yes, he's a rescue horse. And the first time that I went to feed Canner, the camera was on me. And I had to be really careful with him because he was so frightened of people. You know, I would wait till he got out of his stall, put his food in his stall, and then get out myself. You had no idea what he was going to do because he was so afraid. He wasn't a mean horse, just very afraid.
It comes
and
from
now
fear, yeah.
I go over to visit the other horses, and he comes up and says, "Hey, how about my turn?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's come a long way.
Come a long ways, and that's, you know, he's living in an environment where we really try to respect our animals and treat them well. And this is kind of we have a different way of doing things than people did in the past.
Yes.
And, you know, I think you kind of mentioned that here at some point here. You talk about being sour and refusing to go. What does that mean, being sour?
Sour means that he doesn't want to do something, or, for instance, when I first got on him, we leased him first as a lesson horse, and he failed as a lesson horse because he wouldn't walk. He wouldn't walk past the gate, especially. And so I got on, and he was, nope, ears flat back. Nope. I said, yes. Nope. Yes. Gently. Nope. And 6 times his ears went back even further, and he just stomped off. Fine. So that's kind of how he rolls. And he doesn't want to leave the property. I don't want to.
That's called barn sour.
Barn sour. He wants to be
want to
here.
go away from the barn.
And they're herd sour if they don't like leaving
don't
their
want to
herd.
break up from their herd.
And you wonder, why do I have this horse? You're probably asking yourself, because look at him.
Yeah. Well, but this too shall pass. Is the
This,
point.
oh, absolutely. And I love that we're working it out.
Yeah, and it just takes time. It takes time in the same way that it takes time to get to know other people.
Sure.
And you have to be considerate. And it used to be that when a horse refused to do something, the first thing a rider would do was blame the horse.
Absolutely.
And
hit them or something.
Right. And now people have come to understand that the horse is trying to talk to you and saying, my back hurts, or my teeth aren't right, or, you know, so now when something's not going right, the first thing you ask is it something I'm doing? And then the second thing you ask is there something wrong with what's going on physically? And the last thing you ask is if it's a behavior issue. And if it's a behavior issue, you still have to ask the question, well, what's motivating
Right.
it? Is he afraid? Is he, you know, unsure? And you try to address those issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I have to say, Kelly is really good at doing all of these things.
Well, thank you. I'm learning a lot. You know,
Yeah.
I hope
Well,
I'm learning a lot all the
It's
time.
really important because I think if you do it right, it takes longer, but then you have a horse that really wants to be with you and wants to work with you and will do anything for you out in the back.
Which is what you want.
country.
You want the horse to, in a crisis, look to you for guidance and
Absolutely.
security, not run off.
Absolutely. And, you know, you get to the point, I had a horse, his name was Power, and I rode him in endurance, which meant I rode thousands of miles in the backcountry by myself. And I got to the point where, if his ears went back, I trusted that he was sensing something I did not sense. He was telling me, and I knew that he wouldn't lie to me. I mean, it was just as clear as could be.
Horses don't lie.
They don't lie. And so I always paid very close attention to what he was telling me.
Excellent.
You know, they have senses that we just don't have.
No.
And so
And you know, and they say the couple good things that I've come to learn that one is a horse can only be a horse. They don't wake up in the morning and wonder, how can I be a good boy, or how can I make your life a living nightmare today?
Right.
Even though it seems that that's what they're saying. And riding and training a horse is not about training the horse. It's about training us.
yes.
And if we can train our thoughts and emotions and our feelings and the way our body, tension in our body, if we can train ourselves, the horse is easy.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, they really feed off of us. And once they understand what we want, they're very willing to
More
work
than
with
willing.
us.
Horses are bizarre that way, you know.
Well, they're social.
It's incredible.
And
They're very
I think that's
social.
one of the reasons that they adapt so well to us, because we're both
We are too.
social. And they rely on each other out in the wild. And as you know, we have wild horses.
Yes,
very
up the hill
close
back here.
to us, across the mountains, across the river in the Sapphire Mountains. And I was called yesterday by the local newspaper, who's going to do a big story on the Sapphire herd.
Oh, are they going to come here?
I did. I gave them a bunch of pictures and a bunch of
good.
information, and I set them up with some people who in the valley who know about the horses. And I'm really excited that they're going to give this herd some exposure.
Very nice.
It's really nice. Yeah. Well, I'm not done with you
We
here
have one
yet.
more question.
Okay,
I think one more
question.
word. What's the hardest word in there?
Yeah. You talk about loping and jogging. So those are what?
Those are the different gaits of a horse. They're Western style gaits.
Okay. And a gait means a way of walking.
A way
right?
of walking and
Right.
walking and running and galloping, and then he's different than the other horses here.
Yes.
The other horses here are gaited horses, which
Right.
means they have like 5 or 6 different gears, or
Right.
And
Ways of walking.
he's your basic
Right.
3 or 4, depending on what you're going to call him, horse. So, and he does the little Western jog, which is that small little thing like this. I know you want me to show you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show a walk and a jog. I'm going to run for you. Do you think you'll follow me?
Go ahead.
Okay. This is a walk. I know you're going to be entertained because I'm going to fall. Crow, you got to follow me, man. I'm teaching him to be playful, so let's see what happens. Come on. Come on.
Okay, there's a jog. There's a jog. Yeah, and when
So
he
that's a
comes
walk and a jog.
right, walk and a jog.
And he's willing to jog. He's not willing to lope, which is the da-da-dun, da-da-dun, da-da-dun.
That's where 3 of the 4 feet come off the ground.
So I don't think he's being stubborn. At first I thought he was uncomfortable, but I checked him out. I just don't think he's ever been asked to do it before.
Yeah, doesn't quite know what you want.
Yeah, so
Okay, so there's one more thing I'm going to ask you to talk about because it appears in your article.
Oh, okay.
That's floating his teeth.
Floating
that sounds
teeth.
Pretty interesting. What does that mean?
Well, horses' teeth grow their entire lives. And in this environment, when they're not eating in a completely natural way, which is nibbling and walking 24/7, their teeth grow. They get sharp edges. So I'm out of breath already. It's the cold air. So a horse dentist will come, or you'll take your horse to the vet, and they literally file the points off the teeth.
Right.
And if a horse is not acting right, the first thing you do is have their teeth checked.
Yeah.
And I went to the dentist on Monday,
Yeah?
and I had a tooth pulled. So we both have had our teeth floated.
Yeah, it can be really important because the horse's teeth grind.
Mm-hmm.
They grind the vegetation material, and if you've got these points on it, they don't get the full nutrition out of their.
They can't chew their hay.
They can't chew their hay.
Well, there's a whole thing about dropping ropes out of their.
Yeah.
We can go through we're having a hay broadcast.
Yeah.
And I will briefly run through all of that if
Yeah.
anyone wants to hear. Oh, dictionary. Why don't we
Oh
bring
my
up the
goodness!
dictionary?
All these terms that you've been throwing around here. Maybe we should keep them on the web so people can check it up.
Would you like us to put a dictionary on the Days at Dunrovin website? We can add words to that.
Yeah. I thought let's do that, a Dunrovin dictionary, because it isn't just the horses, but it's the birds and it's the everything that goes on around here. We have our own terminology.
Yeah.
And we use a lot of equine terminology, a lot of ornithological terminology.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we'll create a dictionary and put it up there for everybody to enjoy. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? James is in my ear and in the office. He can get really tiny, and he's going to ask me to ask some questions if you have any questions on the chat.
Oh. Jewel wants to have my attention here. And then, of course, Cola wants to.
What is the one part of the eye that I talked about? The sclera. It's the white around the eye inside there. And Appaloosas have a larger one. More of it shows. And that's an actual sign of an Appaloosa. They can be prone to moon blindness, which is something else I'm going to talk about in a couple weeks. You can see he's squinting a lot at the snow. Don't you bite my... Oh, hold on, he just ate... Live showbiz. He just took this off the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted him to become playful, and he's learning, aren't you, buddy?
Yeah.
So, it's the white around the eye, the sclera.
Yeah.
I think it's sclera, I think.
Any other questions?
Anyone else have any questions?
He's fuzzy with his winter
So
coat.
we're going to say, we have what's coming up on Sunday, Suzanne?
Oh, yes. Well, if there are no further questions for
silly.
Kelly, we have some University of Montana students who are going to be coming out for a visit on Sunday at 2 o'clock. And these students have kind of adopted Days at Dunrovin as their business project.
Nice.
Yeah. And these guys are from I don't know where. We're going to have to...
We better find out.
We better find out. We're going to interview these, I think there'll be 3, possibly 4.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, a couple guys and a couple gals. And we'd like to learn more about them. And I do believe they are going to want to get online and talk with all of you.
Oh, great.
To ask questions about what you do with Days at Dunrovin and how you hang out with us here at the ranch. And so this will give us an opportunity to introduce them to you and you to them.
Can I put them to work?
Pardon?
Can I put them to work?
Yeah, well, a little maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't want to dissuade them.
No, we don't. Okay. But I'll let them come.
Horse apples on the first day.
They can come and smell everybody,
come
though.
And smell. All right, that's great. Well, if there are no further questions, and I'll pause for a moment to make sure that there aren't.
We have no further questions, so we'll bid everyone adieu.
We'll bid all of you an adieu. And do come back on Sunday at 2 o'clock to meet the University of Montana students. And if you can't make it then, we'll be back next Tuesday.
And I'm going to smell a horse. Oh, for all of you out there, it's heaven. I wish we could bottle it.
Yes. Yeah, it would sell fast.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming very much.
See you next time.